Welcome to pre-season of 1981. Today we're going to go through everything about this racing series, how it works, how to get involved, and also the new rule changes from the 1980 to the 1981 season. So this car here is the Renault. It's an AI team, meaning that I've designed the car, but no one actually owns it. So it's just there to make up the numbers, basically. I'm here in our Streets of Italy track. Start line's just here. This was race number 7 or 8 last season. I can't 100% remember. But I thought that I would start this video here and just go over a few things first of all. So, to start with, this map is fantastic. We've got lots of villages, lots of hills and everything. This map comes with Beamn.ng, and I've just remapped some of the AI driving just so that we get this AI racing. So first of all, what is the AI racing? In Beamn.ng, this is the game that we're in, you've got this AI control, basically, and the car will go by the marked out track. At the moment on this road you can't see it, it's hidden in the code, but there's a marked out track that goes this way, around here and through here, and basically by pressing on this AI mode, pressing random, it'll follow that road, and by building cars at various different configurations, everything can be changed on these cars. We can then race the cars. We just go up here to no, okay. Yeah, if I make another one. So if I was to go to AI and press random, all of the cars that are near will randomly pick a track via their mapped out AI circuit, but if there's only one circuit, then the cars will just take that path. So Renault finished last season, and there was a few reasons why. First of all, the car isn't great. I like the model of it, but it's not set up perfectly, and part of the AI teams is so that we can have someone to beat, but they're a challenge, and no one changes their setup. It's all done by random. So if I quickly go over to the spreadsheet, so this is our spreadsheets that we use for all the cash flow and everything. So I've just finished doing Porsche's upgrades, so you can see the upgrades over here on the right. So what happens is, based on where you start or based on where you finished, you get winnings. So in the 1980 season, if you finish second, you get $16,000 and 18 championship points. Now, service cost is the service cost of the car. Oops, don't know what happened there. Is the service cost of the car. So last season, Porsche service cost was $767.50, meaning that after every race they had to pay $767.50, no matter what. This repair cost here, we use a reliability factor on the cars, and I'll go through that a bit more when we go to automation, but if the engine blows up, then you've got to put in a new engine. So you can see here, car number 3, Porsche, in round 5, had a DNF, which means they only won $1,000 and no championship points. They had to pay $767 in service cost and $1,200 for a brand new engine. They actually lost about $1,000 that race weekend, but they did well. They come third in the Drivers' Championship. So if I show you the Drivers' Championship, this is last season's championship. So McLaren won, Fife Racing Design second, Porsche third, and then we've also got the teams down here, which just adds both the drivers, and you can tell which 4 teams only have one car. So we've got a spreadsheet for everyone: McLaren, Fife Racing, which is my team, Porsche, BMW, Toyota. First is Philip Hamilton Engineering Racing Services team, I think. Volvo, Renault, and then we've got a couple other teams from previous attempts at running this series back when we were doing 1940s regulations and things like that, but that's not important. So we'll head back to Beamn.ng. So if I was to drive this car now over here, so this is me moving the car. So if I was to put the car here, like I said, press random, the car will just go. Also, when we do qualifying, we just press this start hot lapping thing, right? So that will set down a checkpoint back there. And then every time the car passes the checkpoint, we get a lap time. And we will use that time for the starting grid. Now we have, for qualifying, two different types of qualifying. We have a virtual qualifying. I'll show you a little bit more about that in a minute. And we have the timed qualifying. So this is the timed qualifying, and we're going to be running time qualifying for each of the second rounds. So round 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 will be timed qualifying. And rounds 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 will be virtual qualifying? Yeah, will be virtual qualifying. So when we do time qualifying, we do it on the Wednesday night, and racing is on Thursday night every week. Another new thing that we're going to do this season is we're going to have 2 races per round. Previously we'd go to a different track for each round. We're still going to do that, but we're going to have 2 races at each round. So the rounds that are timed qualifying, so rounds 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, will have reverse grid. So it'll be timed qualifying, and then wherever you finish in the first race, the reverse of that is where you start in the second race. And for rounds 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, we're going to have progressive grid. So it'll be virtual qualifying, and then wherever you finish in the first race is where you will start in the second race. I think this will add a bit more diversity in the results, but we'll have to see. So as you can see, this car's coming into the last couple corners, and now I haven't touched the keyboard, I haven't done anything. Coming in turn 1, turn 2 now, and we're going to see when it comes across the line, in a 2:08.265. Now that's not an overly quick time, but that'd give it a place somewhere. So we'd run all the other cars, and wherever it ends up is where it ends up. So we'll jump over to automation now. Now this is the game that we basically the game that we build the cars. Now I'm in the 1981 Porsche car at the moment. So this is what we do. So you pick the body shape, obviously you set it to 1980. The model's locked because I've already done this. So when creating a team, you've got to have all across the top, because starting your team is you get the worst of everything. You can pick mid or rear if it's a mid or rear car. Now this Porsche has a 8-litre boxer 6-cylinder in it. There's no limits, there's no regulations on engine size or configuration, volume, anything like that. But you can see here head and valves. So Porsche has researched direct acting overhead cam and overhead cam. So if we go back to Porsche, you can see over here on the technology research, we've got direct acting overhead cam after race 5 in the 1980 season, and then in the pre-season they've gone for overhead cam. Now you'll notice that direct overhead cam is 3 and overhead cam is 6. So each of the first ones is 3 research points. Same with aluminium, 3 research points. Next one down is 6, and the next one down from that will be 12 research points. And a research point, you trade $5,000 to 1 research point. So again, if anyone wants to get involved in this, any configuration of engine, any number of cylinders, it has to fit in your car, obviously. So that's what this diagram here is for. So you can see this engine only just fits in the Porsche with this double overhead cam now. With this overhead cam, not double overhead cam. Sorry. So then we go on to the engine internals. Now if I click on, don't know which one it is, press that and that, you can see what's inside. This game's great for doing this. So again, normally you'd pick cast. Now quality. Each quality point can be bought for 1 research point. Porsche hasn't done any of that. None of the teams actually have yet. We go to top end. Compression cam profile can be changed no matter what. VVT and VVL have to be researched, but in 1980 you're just not going to have VVT and VVL. Aspiration turbocharger. Now, McLaren have gone and bought a turbocharger for this season. So you have 25 research points for a turbo. Porsche have not. Fuel system, everything here, as you can see, everything's across the top. So carb, single barrel, single carb. See, up top here. So if you're going to make this, you've got to start at the start. Everything the worst, and just work your way up from there. Winning races gives you more money, gives you more research points. They've gone for dual exhausts this season, Porsche have. Obviously researching that. And then that gives us what's being restricted and all that sort of stuff. So that we do have a max power limit that you're allowed to make in the 1980s. Well, currently. So it's 350 kilowatts. So you can see Porsche makes 182 kilowatt and 553 newton meters of torque. So McLaren actually make 350 kilowatt. There's no limit on newton meters of torque, but there is a limit on kilowatt. So as long as the engine doesn't go past 350 kilowatt, then it's completely fine. Then we move on to the car. So this is the Porsche. It's using a 1975 coupe. As long as the body is before 1980 or now 1981, then it can be used in this. So obviously pick the body, pick paint, can be painted whatever. Fixtures, this is obviously done up to look like a 1980 Porsche. Then we move on to drivetrain. Gearbox has to be manual, have to start with 2 gears and an open diff. A couple of the manufacturers, myself and BMW, I think, have gone to 3 gears. Top speed and spacing can be changed. Wheels, you're allowed to use radial and hard long life. You can use chunky off-road for the off-road races, but currently hard long life. Tire width and all this can be changed. Rim material has to be on steel. Just quickly fly through the rest of this. So brakes again, all at the top. Can change the size, can't change the pad type or the brake bias. Has to be researched. Aerodynamics. I researched aerodynamics. Costs 5 research points for aero. Oops, that's the wrong button. Go back to this. So aerodynamics. Once you've unlocked aerodynamics, it doesn't give you an under tray, but it does give you access to change the front wing, the rear wing, cooling airflow, and the brake airflow. So you can do all that once you've researched aerodynamics. Interior, again, it's a race car. You're not going to have interior entertainment. Power steering can be hydraulic. Don't worry about variable hydraulic. Porsche have researched that, but hydraulic is necessary. And suspension, same again, everything all across the top. All of the suspension tuning can be changed and the ride height can be changed. So now, before when I was talking about the reliability factor, I was talking about, if I can find it, right, reliability, 60.1. So this car has a reliability factor of 60 out of 100. So what I do is before the race, after qualifying, just go along and have a random number generator online and just like I'll show you. If I go here and go random number generator at 100, so what we do is we just press this and it's 71. So this reliability, whoops, for this car will pass and it'll be fine to go on to the race without needing an engine or repairs or anything. If this number was below 60, like that, that's a fail. So automatically excluded from qualifying, have to start from the rear of the grid. If it's above 60 again for the second time, then it's passed and it's just going to start from the rear of the grid. It's excluded from qualifying. If it's below 60 twice, like that just then it's got to have a new engine in it. So before, when you see these instances on the repairs where it's got to have repair costs, that's because it had to have a new engine in it. Now, I got quite lucky last year. My number 5 didn't blow any engines and 43 only blew one. But some teams were not so lucky. So that's why it's important to sort of focus on overall speed of the car, the performance of the car, and the reliability of the car as well. And then after that, so this is Porsche's completed car. Now when we do virtual qualifying, we go to the test track and we just press start and stop, and we get this time 2:31.53. And that is how we do virtual qualifying. Basically, it's the simplest way, but it's also not entirely accurate. Like, your car can be faster on automation and slower on Beamn.ng, or it can be the other way around as well. So that's why it's not always 100% accurate, and it's not. That's why we alternate. That's why we alternate between the two of them. So that's basically everything for building the car. So I guess that we can probably get out of this now and head back over to this. Now, unfortunately, the music stopped. Just try and remember if there's any other things that I need to go through. I don't think there really is. One thing that will be important is this season having more races will mean a lot more money, which means research will be faster and all that sort of stuff. Anyone can join mid-season or anything like that. Probably should have shown you how to export cars, but you just go press export and then send the file over to me. I'll add it in, create a spreadsheet, and then you're in it basically. So the only thing that you have to do is build the car, and that's basically it. Check my notes if there's anything else I forgot while we watch the Renault go around the track. So no, I think that's about it really. First race is next Thursday, exactly 1 week from now is race 1. We have final practice of the 1981 season on Monday night, and then we have virtual quality on Wednesday. Everything gets posted on Facebook, videos get uploaded to YouTube, and it's also live streamed for the races as well on Twitch. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, hopefully anyone that's watched this can tune in next week and watch race 1 of the 1981 season. You get involved if you want, leave comments, tell me what you think of the racing series and all that. And yeah, that's about it from me. I guess I'll see whoever watches this next week.